Hello, sysfailure here again, and welcome to 2014 and some more videos. YZ snapshot video of 14W02A/B, the first video of this new year. Pretty much because I have no hard drive space until yesterday because of various videos I'm shooting. So great timing for this. If you're just here for the snapshot video, let's run through the various features. If you're around for other videos, they'll be turning up soon as well. Right, so as you can see, I'm up in the air here. Now, what would be probably quite stupid is if I was to change my game mode to survival. This would hurt now, wouldn't it? Oh, bloody hell, no! Oh, that's okay. Yay! Woohoo! Let me just get off of that. Yes, first off, we have a few new blocks. We have this lovely little slime block here, which oddly, the hitboxes only show up on the edges. This same sort of thing actually is happening with coloured glass as well. Might be due to some of the transparency changes it's made. But as you can see, it doesn't matter how high you fall from, it will break your fall. And you also bounce on it. Oddly, if you walk onto it, if you look, your vision just sort of does that and bounces away until you settle down again. There we go. A little odd. It also slows you down as you see walking on it. Now, okay, yeah, hang on, we'll get to you in a minute. We have these new little blocks here, which grow pretty much everywhere, from what I understand. There's some of them up there. First off, we have granite. Most people probably know what granite is. And here we have some polished granite. Well, obviously granite and polished. Next up, we have diorite, which sounds very much like something you would take if you had runs. And a polished version, which doesn't look quite as smoothly polished as the granite one, to be honest. Then we have the andesite, sounds very handy to me, and a polished version of that. So they're the new blocks that you have in this first snapshot for 1.8. So they haven't been standing around doing nothing. And you can actually craft a couple of these as well if you want. Now, a nice little slime block here, which if you look, you can see through, and there's another nice little block inside. So it's very much like slimes themselves, actually. Just here, simply the same as most other blocks of this type. Here we have 9 slime balls. And that makes your same block. Now the diorite here is one of the more unusual ones because it can actually be crafted as well. If you get 2 cobblestone and 2 quartz, either in this pattern or this pattern, you can have 2 diorites out of it. Which is a little odd. But, you know, that's it. Now here's a lovely little block, nice little mossy stone bricks, and they're obviously quite rare, but now if you just stick some vines on them with the stone bricks, doesn't matter what order you put them in as long as they're somewhere in the grid, you will get yourself a mossy stone brick. Doesn't seem to be any recipe yet for a mossy cobblestone, but I wouldn't be surprised if one came along. And then we have our chiseled stone bricks. A couple of stone brick slabs on top of each other will give you one of these. So that's lovely. Doors. Well, we all know how doors are made. You need 6 wooden plank blocks and you'd get a door. Well, now you get 3 doors. And for extra fun, they also stack up to 64, which as you can see is a hell of a lot of doors. So you don't have to worry about doors taking up all your inventory now. And villagers. Why do I have so many villagers? Well, I actually would have a couple more villagers, but I haven't been able to get them all to spawn and didn't have time to put them all in my commands. But there are different villager types now. This one is a Fletcher. His name's not actually Fletcher. He is a Fletcher, so he does stuff related to sort of bows, arrows, that sort of thing. See, so he will take some string for an emerald, and in exchange for an emerald, he'll give you some arrows. Also, if you listen, when you press arrows, they actually make the sounds. So it's like they're talking to tell you the different deals. We have the butcher, obviously meat. I do chicken. Librarian, obviously paper and books. Armourer, so coal obviously for smelting things, and emerald you give an iron helmet. Weaponsmith, quite similar. I'm going to give me an iron axe, that one. Toolsmith, there we go, so tools, shovel in this case. Not too bad, 6 emeralds for that. The cleric, who will take rotten flesh, give you emeralds for it, and gold and emeralds. I was suspecting the rotten flesh is in relation to in your old Dungeons and Dragons and RPGs and stuff. Clerics had turned undead, so in this case they're turning undead rotten flesh into money. Shepherd, wool and shears in this particular trade. Farmer, obviously wheat, potatoes. He's also got some carrots. You've got a trade for some bread. And a fisherman, there's string for the fishing rod. Not sure why a fisherman wants coal. He will also, for some bizarre reason, if you pay him an emerald, cook your fish, which seems like a bit of a rip-off to me, but, you know, whatever floats your boat. And there are a couple of other types. I'm missing the leather worker and blacksmith, which have similar sort of trades to the armour, etc. But obviously, probably armour type things. Don't know what the blacksmith does. Also, when you do trade with them, new trades actually open up in blocks now, so you don't trade, open one trade, trade, open one trade. You actually trade and you'll open maybe 3 or 4 different trades after that. Also, none of these are showing it. Ooh, a flower, that's nice. None of them are showing it, but you can also buy lapis from the villagers. Here's our lovely lapis lazuli, or lazuli, however you want to pronounce it. Why would you want to be able to buy it from villagers? I mean, what's so valuable about it? Well, it's been a little bit of a change. The old enchanting table here now requires lapis to power the enchantments. So let me just switch over to survival. So I've got a few levels on me here. Now if I take my diamond sword, stick it in here, you will see I can't have anything. But if I was to put the lapis in, I could. And also you'll see it's giving me sharpness 1 it says, and in question mark it will randomly show a possible enchantment, but it won't show the other ones. So you could just have one thing, it could have a couple of things. Now this is decided by a seed that is stored with the player, so until I actually enchant this, I will get the same things every single time. Once I enchant it, I'll get given a different selection. Just give you some more levels. Whoops. Also seems to be a little bit of a glitch with the weather command, it would appear, because I set that to 1 million so it wouldn't rain. That quite clearly just rained. A little bit annoying. Right, let's try this again. Okay, for some reason I'm only going to get 2 possible things. No idea why. But we'll put 2 lapis in there. And choose this one. And I have now just with sharpness 1. That's all I got for it. Just get another one and we'll see if we can get something else. Right, now I'm in creative now, but you see I've got 3 options and I would put lapis in there, but in creative I don't need it. So this was going smite is going to be on this, sharpness and knockback, but could have many other things. So that one's just knockback 1. Well, we're not doing very well on those. But yeah, so you do need lapis for that now. Honestly, I'm a bit rusty doing these things. There we go, that's better. So you need lapis for enchantment now. It was gold, but that changed pretty quickly. So that's where you can buy it off of villagers. Okay, anvils. good old repairing and naming Anvils. Well, it's got a hell of a lot cheaper now. So let's just call this Bob. So Bob here costs me 1 level to name. But suddenly Bob would like a sex change. He's now Bobby. And that's 2 levels. But decided, didn't actually like that. 3 levels. And just can't make up the mind, 4 levels and so on. So every time you change the name, it only costs 1 level now. Also, repair costs are a lot cheaper as well. So it's possible to take quite a high level weapon and just load it up with maximum possible enchants, and it can still actually be repaired now, which is quite nice. On the flip side of these cheaper things though, it now takes a lot longer to get up through levels to build up experience. Don't have an exact scale on how long it takes, but there is a difference. So that's those little changes. What else do we have? Well, some useful stuff in regards to adventure maps and, well, multiplayer maps as well. I've got a little block set up here, and it's the clear command. Now, if you know about commands, clear, targeting the closest player, and I'm removing 388, which happens to be an emerald. Now, normally, you would just remove a number of them, and the output down here, the comparator, would decide if it's successful or not. If there were none to remove, there'd be no output. So obviously I have to press the button, nothing happens. But this one's set up 0 to remove 0. This was not a previous ability. So this is actually now the ability to detect if somebody is carrying something. So here I have an emerald. Put my emerald there. So I push the button now. There we go. So it's detected I'm carrying at least 1 emerald. That's why it's 0. It doesn't detect how many of them you've got, I don't think. Probably just players. We'll get rid of that again. Hit the button. Back down. And back up without having to take the item off of somebody. So that could be quite useful if you want them to carry something through certain areas and use it in specific places. Some sort of back and forward switching puzzle, something along those lines. Apparently also if you set it to -1, it will remove an infinite amount of those items, as opposed to a specific amount. Now, more fun little commands. There is a new command called block data. Now, what this does is any block it targets, which in this case is just targeting this chest down here, it can set the MBT data of that block to anything you like. As far as I'm aware, there are no restrictions on it. In this case, what it's doing is setting to a new one called lock. We've got a secret here just because that happened to be in the original example. But you could write anything you want in here. Now, it is meant to have these sort of quotation marks or speech marks or something. I removed them because the opposite version of this command has a bit of a bug where it is doubling these, because you see it's automatically put them in, but it's not put them there, which actually breaks it. So this little chest is open. Got to put all my goodies in here because quite frankly I don't want anybody stealing it, and it's really quite nice. Somebody else comes along, as Luke wanders off with all my gear. Well, we don't want that now, do we? So if I hit this button here, and once this stuff actually clears off of my screen, there we go, that's better. The chest is locked, so nobody at all can get into it. But if you set it with a lock with nothing after it, as you can see, it's putting the speech marks in. That's why there are no speech marks there. That's clearly a bug. If I do that, now opens. All this extra stuff on the screen is just because it shows it is altering that box, and as it has items in it already, that's why there's so much stuff on my screen. If I took all the items out, there'd be a lot less. So that's lovely. That could be used for locking these and changing stuff. You could change sort of this into that if you wanted to. Just change the type. I believe that works. Might not. I could be talking out my arse on that one. Quite possibly. I shall check that. But yeah, so you can set MBT data in blocks. Very useful. Now, adventure mode. Well, adventure mode, certain blocks could obviously still be destroyed and things like that. And it was troublesome if you wanted sort of adventure maps to decide what people could destroy, what they couldn't destroy, etc. Well, now, if you see, I can't destroy any blocks because I'm in adventure mode. But if I get myself this diamond shovel, and we have a look, this diamond shovel says it can break grass blocks. Well, it's a diamond shovel, can break anything, can't it? Nope. No stone, no pozzo, but the grass block, gone. Just like that. This is because there is a new bit called can destroy in MBT data. So this affects only adventure mode. So this particular shovel that I've spawned for myself, so diamond shovel there, can destroy Minecraft grass, but nothing else. You can put any block type you want in here. You can put every block type if you really wanted to, and use that. So that's quite useful for adventure maps where you truly don't want somebody to destroy all the stuff going around. Yeah, they could possibly change the game mode with cheats and stuff like that, but if they're doing that, they're not really playing the map properly anyway. So back to where we were. Right, what else do we have? Well, ah dear, they've all gone. 2 seconds. Ah, there they are. Okay. Oh, here we have a spider jockey. Now we all know the spider jockey. Quite clearly it was some sort of teleporter accident involving a spider and a skeleton, yeah? And here we have a teleporter. If you've seen The Fly, you'll know what's going to happen. That. Because we've clearly got a spider and a skeleton in here. So let's fire up the teleporter and see what happens. Well, I'll be damned. The spider's there. And the skeleton's there. It looks like I've invented a far more advanced teleporter. Right, what's going on? Well, it's another command. This is the target entity command. This can target any type of entity whatsoever. So in this case, it's skeletons. You can target players, slimes, all sorts. As far as I'm aware, it can target floating block types that are just hanging around. I wouldn't be surprised if it does falling sand. As far as I'm aware, it does everything. So in this case, it was just looking at anybody within 5 radius of those coordinates that happened to be of a type of skeleton and just moved it. If I had not put a type, it would have taken the spider across as well. Okay, admittedly, this still would have been separate. They wouldn't have looked like that, but hey, it's for effect. But yeah, there we go. So that's all the stuff I can show you in-game. There's a couple other things that I just will mention. Obviously, the teleport there, I was using a relative teleport. Relative teleports, now, when it affects players, are much smoother. So before, when you teleport, you sort of teleport and then you stop and whatever. But it's perfectly possible now that you could be doing this, get teleported, and not even notice it if you were running through an area that was identical. So that could be pretty sneaky for adventure maps, that can. Somebody appears to be eating grass around here. And also, our F3 menu. Sometimes you kind of get lost when you try to figure out which direction you're doing coordinates in for command blocks, etc. Well, if you look there, sort of halfway down the screen, it says I'm facing east, and it says that is towards positive X. And if I walk that way, you will see that the X is increasing. That way, towards positive Z, towards negative X, and towards negative Z. So that's quite useful if you want to know which direction X's and Y's are going in, for sort of relative teleports and things like that. Obviously, there's not one for Y, because quite frankly, that's down, that's up. Not much more difficult than that. Final sort of thing I wanted to show you is in the options. Up here, the difficulty. This is actually set per world now. You can also lock it as well, so that you don't accidentally change it when you go in and sort of delete everything that's maybe like a custom mob or whatever. And apparently it can also be permanently locked on a world so that you need some sort of editor to remove it again. But there we go, that's quite a few things. Mental sheep still. For the first of the 1.8 snapshots of the new year. Quite a lot of things really. So good start. But as usual, thanks for watching and bye bye. Perhaps actually I wanted station 3. So I'll go to station 3. On we get. Not touching anything. And I've arrived at station 3. There we go. Okay, so fairly simple one.